In this episode, we're going to talk about the 5 essential things you need to know to become a very good front-end developer, and which also comes in very handy when you want to land your first front-end developer job. I'm going to give you a detailed explanation of various languages and tools that you will need, as well as a proper learning path and a suggestion on how long it will take you to learn these. My name is Sam, and welcome to Sam Codes. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe as I upload new videos all the time. There are so many languages and tools out there: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, PHP, React, Python. Yeah, I know, it's a lot. If you feel overwhelmed, just know you are not alone. A lot of people are going through this, have gone through this, and that's why we created this video here. So in this video, I'm going to give you a clear and a straight path so you can focus on the things that matter the most and actually get to your goal. One of the mistakes most beginners make is that they jump from one thing to another without learning anything properly. So in this video, I'm going to give you a summary of these languages and their purpose. Let's get started. To become a front-end developer, you need to start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are the fundamental languages of front-end development. We use HTML to structure our web pages, we use CSS to make them beautiful, and JavaScript deals with the functionality, basically to program them. Let me give you an analogy. A car in the real world is like a web page on the internet. A car has a structure. It can have pretty seats, wheels, and the car also has certain functionalities like speeding. For example, when we press the acceleration pedal, the car starts moving. And when we press the brake, the car stops. These are different functionalities inside the car. We're done with the fundamental. Let's go to the next part. So when building large websites, we often deal with a lot of repetitive tasks. This is where front-end frameworks and libraries come in handy. A framework and a library comes with a lot of code that we can reuse in our website. So they help us get the job done more efficiently and faster. That's why a lot of companies use these frameworks like React, Angular, and Vue. But to be very accurate, React is not a framework, it's a library. The difference between a framework and a library is that a framework forces our application into a structure. Therefore, all applications built with a framework like Vue end up having similar structure. So as you move from one project to another, you will see that a lot of things are familiar. Libraries don't force our application into a structure, they just provide some code for us to use. But these little distinctions aside, all these tools serve the same purpose. They help us build applications more efficiently and more faster. Now, you don't need to learn all of this to get started. As you move, this will depend on the job you're doing. But I would advise you to choose the most popular, which is React. React is built by Facebook and was used to build Facebook and Instagram. So my humble advice is go for React. Now let's go to the next part. Version control systems. We use version control systems to track our project history and also to work collaboratively with others. That's why you find it in every job description. And the most popular version control system in the world is Git. It is used in almost 70% of software development teams. So my humble advice again is just focus on Git and don't worry about any other version control system. Now, what's next? CSS is a little bit dated and it also has some limitations. So if you use it on a medium size or a large website, sooner or later, your code can become confusing and hard to maintain. And when you want to change something in your code, you end up affecting something else. The question is, has CSS evolved? Is there something better? This is where we use CSS preprocessors. A CSS preprocessor is a tool that helps you generate CSS from a different language that is better and more capable than CSS. So instead of using the plain old CSS, we use another language that is very similar to CSS. It is almost identical, but it has some extra features. Then we give our code to a CSS preprocessor, so it gets converted to the plain old CSS code that all browsers can understand. That is the purpose of CSS preprocessors. Like Sass, Less, and stylus. And do not worry, you don't have to learn all of them. And again, you don't have to learn all of them to get a front-end development job because these are all similar tools. So as long as you understand the purpose of a CSS preprocessor and know how to use it, you are good to go. My suggestion is to learn the most popular preprocessor, which is Sass. Now we have the same problem with JavaScript because JavaScript is a fairly old language and has some limitations. So what a lot of developers do is they use the modern language like TypeScript. Then they give their program to a tool called Transpiler, which will translate and compile the modern code to the old JavaScript code that all browsers can understand. So to get your first front-end development job, first you need to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I would say if you spend 3 to 5 hours a day studying and coding, you should be able to learn this in 3 months. Next, you need to learn a front-end framework or library like React. You probably need 2 months to learn React. After that, you should learn a version control system like Git. You should be able to understand Git in about 2 weeks. These are the absolute essentials that you'll find on almost every job descriptions. Now, if you have extra time, you can always learn Sass and TypeScript to stand out from the rest of the crowd and increase your job opportunities. So if you dedicate a lot of time to studying, you will be able to apply for a junior developer's job after 6 months. But of course, please, everyone is different. Some people might take longer, some people might take shorter. The plan is to actually be dedicated to this, enjoy doing it, make projects on your own, and also love doing it. Because if you do not love doing it, it will be harder to spend more time on it. Now, to learn these skills, I have a lot of tutorials on my channel, and I'm also creating a website very soon. And if you gain something from this video, please like and subscribe. See you in the next video.